I think really just giving your insight from a financial point of view, sort of what is making sense for your clients and sort of what guidance you can give them and direction and where to go from there.
So someone coming in, with $50,000, they're very limited on what they can do in the established market.
Yep.
But in the build market, it's very much an entry point that you can get into a decent package size as well. Yeah.
What's the cap now for first homeowners grant? $750
for first homeowners grant for the build. $750.
Yeah. Okay. Which is still all right.
Yeah. $560.
And if we go over, we can tweak it a little bit. We
can make it work.
To make it work.
This is the Build Out West podcast with your host Tony Hyde from Evolution House and Lawn Specialists and Catherine Smith from Build Bright Builder Brokers.
If you guys are looking to build in WA or simply curious to see what's going on in building, you guys are in the right place. We're here to give insight with professionals in the game, coming to give the inside scoop. Episodes are uploaded weekly, so don't worry, we don't skip a beat and you won't either. Like, share, subscribe, sit back, relax, and let's go.
Hello and welcome to the Build Out West podcast with your host Tony Hyde.
And Catherine Smith, good morning.
Good morning.
How are we?
We're good.
We've got a special guest on today. We have Adam Burstein from Core Finance. How are you going?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for the introduction and thank you for having me on.
Our pleasure.
Don't be nervous. It's not that
How
scary.
How could I not with all the people watching?
No, we really wanted to bring you on to talk about, a few different finance topics, but one I think is really relevant today because the market is so hot, particularly in Perth. And a question we get asked a lot from the builder's perspective is, buying established or building, or what's the best option. And I think really just giving your insight from a financial point of view, sort of what is making sense for your clients and sort of what guidance you can give them and direction and where to go from there.
Yeah, we actually get this a lot with people come in, they don't know whether to go established, build, they actually don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And I suppose the first way that we break it down is related to the deposit requirement. So deposit requirement for a build is obviously a lot healthier, a lot easier to get in than an established property. So I suppose when we're looking at people's finances, essentially that's what we look at first. So someone coming in, with $50,000, they're very limited on what they can do in the established market.
Yep.
But in the build market, it's very much an entry point that you can get into a decent package size as well. Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. Probably one I have overlooked in a way, but probably would you say from your experience, majority of first home buyers would be building over established?
Majority first, definitely.
Yeah.
So I suppose at the moment with, living costs the way they are and the expense, it's hard to save. So people come in with $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 to get into a house and land package. That's just a really good number.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're going to look at an established purchase, it's almost like too far away.
Yeah.
And you need to start looking at other options to be able to get in. So I think just ease of being able to start and get your foot into the market, using the deposit requirements is a very good place to just, narrow people in, whether it's going to be, the established or the build route.
Especially jumping into the established market, what a lot of first home buyers don't realise is the money it's going to cost them after they get in to renovate. Because especially right now, people are paying top dollar for heaps of crap essentially, and then got to spend a lot of money renovating. Whereas if you build, you can pretty much get what you want and it's brand spanking new, right?
Yeah, you would know, you keep up with the stats, but I think the latest is $778 for a median house price in Perth, which is craziness because remember the numbers we were dealing with 3 years ago, even 2019, 2018, we're doing packages for $350 grand. Those were the days. The old Alchemos, the Hilbert,
Bell
300.
Diamonds is on the 400 4x2.
I think I financed half of Bell Diamonds.
Yeah,
probably.
You built that.
Yeah.
One house at a time.
Plenty of them.
Probably, but how things have rapidly changed. We were just looking at the last 12 months forecast in Perth, and I think you're right in saying getting into the established world, it's moving so rapidly that the deposit requirement is almost not stacking to make sense, from a financial point of view.
And with the government incentives and things like that, the first homeowners grant, that really puts a huge spanner in the works. So if you don't get your first homeowners grant of the $10,000, you have to pay full stamp duty. You're close to sometimes 30, 40 grand difference from the get-go.
Okay.
And that's just where people just cannot come up with that extra
What's
money.
the cap now for first homeowners grant?
$750. for first homeowners grant for the build, 750.
Yeah. Okay. Which is still all right.
Yeah. 560.
And if we go over, we can tweak it a little bit, you know,
we can make it work.
to make it work. We make it work, you know.
But the stamp duty is a killer though for a lot of, especially the first home buyers. You
Yeah.
know, they go and buy land because not a lot of land starts with a 2 anymore. It's always starting with a 3, and that's you straight into stamp duty now, right? So
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I suppose the other thing that means is the new home guarantee scheme is almost out
yeah,
at this point in time.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing that we were getting so many people through. But as land prices increased and obviously buildings kind of followed it, that's kind of now off the table.
I just got Lakelands block for $325, and that's Lakelands. You know?
the same.
Isn't it crazy?
Ocean House 389.
Yeah. Just
389.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Lakelands ain't even in Perth, you know.
It was like you were saying, that was almost the package price for
Correct.
some packages, you know,
Yeah,
3-4 years ago.
I know.
Well, I done that one in down in Mandurah, Hall's Head, and it was 380, and I think it's 620 or something right now. Like, it's just what?
Yeah, I know.
That was Keystart deal, like just when 2%, like just get in.
Yeah. Have you
Remortgage
actually
it.
touching on Keystar? We should make that a topic in itself because obviously that's getting a bit of noise.
It
It's
changes-
been quiet
definitely.
for
It changes so often.
at least
though.
3 years.
It's
you know how
changing.
it is.
It changes so often at the moment. Keystart. I think they're just
I
trying to
was the
keep up on it.
queen of Keystar
Oh, Keystar.
2018, as we all were. You know, I knew that back
I
of my
was the
hand.
queen of it.
Yeah. you were the king. You know, you were the qualified king. I just was self-proclaimed. But I would say Keystart went real quiet, real quick, and that was almost, in a way, the backbone of the building industry was Keystart. You know,
Yeah.
interestingly, when you talk to first home buyers now, they don't even know what Keystart is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So one of my builders, he goes, I actually did an ad on Facebook for lead gen, and it was for Keystart. And half the people inquiring actually hadn't even heard of Keystart. So it was such a dud ad, it didn't even go anywhere. So,
Yeah. Look,
what are the requirements now? What's
They've
changed?
definitely come back into the market.
Yeah.
The income limits have come right up.
Yeah.
Your new max purchase price is $650,000.
Okay, that's good.
It's good, and they're coming
Better
back
than 480.
Yeah, and they're coming back in a big way. They're like I think they said 6 or 3 months, they're going to review it
Nice.
and see what the median house price is in Perth, and then that's what they're going to set the house and land limit at. And then the incomes will be adjusted so that you can purchase it based on, if you're a single app, a couple, a family with a debt. Yeah.
Is it still the 2%?
Still the 2%, everything else is
So
the same,
2% of 650 is obviously a lot different to our 380 packages
It
back
is.
in the day.
When you could use your first home.
Yeah. Get in your house for 2K, you
But
know.
it's still pretty good though.
Yeah,
Like, being
okay.
able to get in with 2% and not pay lender's mortgage insurance.
It's big.
It's huge. Like
Yes.
the entry point to get in deposit, as we were speaking about before, is massive to get in there. And then once you've got enough equity, you can always refinance out. Like it's a great transitional lender.
Yes.
Because coming up with that, for a $650,000 package, you're still probably looking at, close to 50 grand, 45 grand.
Yeah.
With a 95% lend.
Yes.
And you're paying lender's mortgage insurance and all the rest of it. Plus, they do have that added advantage of during the construction period, you only pay $400 a month.
Yes.
Like it's really good. So
Yeah.
doing that really helps people get in.
It's definitely something to look at more for the first home buyer market as well. And I think hopefully, I don't know if your feedback is like this, but in my space, it's been very quiet for the first home buyers at the moment because they're almost like priced out a little bit this year, and things have been rapid, in terms of momentum and where they're going. And they're almost like, oh, is it going to stop? Is it not? It's not.
I'm just starting to see them getting drip fed. I've got a couple now that have just come out of the woodwork. A couple, ones I was dealing with maybe 18 months ago have came back and saying, all right, it's like almost they've went, 650 is what I need to pay, right? It's like they just went, okay, it's not 500 anymore, it's 650. They've accepted that, they know what it's going to cost, and then they've come back in the market in a position to do it. And I think they feel a bit more comfortable coming in the market with whatever rate's going to be hopefully dropping, but it's not as crazy. It's still mad, but it's not as crazy as it was out there, like building wise, and buying established. It only gets still goes pretty quickly, but not where it was. Like, you might go here back there, we're seeing sight unseen, 80 grand over the asking price, like sight unseen, like Cal Cash. I think the investors are starting to drop out of that market a little bit, so it's allowing the first one buyers to sort of jump back in a little bit. That's kind of what I've just slowly seen that shift, just a tiny little bit, going, I can see the crack happening now, a bit more relaxed about it.
I think the same. Like even looking at what's available rent-wise seems to be increasing compared to what it was. And I suppose that allows more people to start being a little bit more of a buyer's market more than such a seller's market where people are buying things sight unseen and dropping these crazy prices.
I can't believe the prices of it.
Yeah.
My brother bought an established house and I can't, it's like 170 grand he's made in about 2.5 years. You're like, what the hell, man? Do you know what I mean?
But I think with that market as well, when people go to the established market, with the real estate agents, how they act in Perth, you don't get a price. So what
especially
happens,
this year.
Yeah, it's just what we seem to get a lot is we get people who've gone to several home opens. They've spoken to the real estate agents. They're expecting a certain number for this house to sell.
Yeah.
And it's, call it 500 and it's selling for 580, 600. And they're just losing all confidence.
Yeah.
So whether they've got pre-approvals in place, whether they've got the deposits and whatnot, they're just losing confidence in being able to buy a property because they keep getting outbid. They're not getting told what the price is, I suppose.
Yes.
Whereas when you do come to the build market, you've got the house price, which is provided by the consultant. You've got the land price.
Yes.
You know generally what the site works are. So you're kind of getting an idea of what you've got to spend.
Yeah. You kind of work backwards off your budget. I think that's probably the difference, where in the established market, I find the feedback I'm getting from clients is they're getting disheartened, So they're going on the weekends, they're expecting X money. There's 30 other couples there who obviously have maybe more pre-approval or whatever. The price is obviously out of reach. I find particularly in certain areas, if it's like a 4-bedroom home or more of a family home rather than a unit, the competition is so fierce because everyone is wanting those sort of houses. Like I had one in Vic Park, which majority are 3-bedroom houses, anything 4-bedroom. It was 200 grand. I think they had like 28 offers, but just on one weekend, it's madness. So that's why people end up going, you know what, maybe we should look into building because at least we have a bit more control of what we're actually going to get and the budget, and we can sort of work back off that and, go from there.
I've actually seen a lot of it through the build partners that we work with. A lot of the people have been through this process and now they're sold on the build process, I suppose, rather than going through the established market.
Almost at the same time though, and I will be honest, people are like, oh, I'm hesitant to build because I've heard all these stories, the media, niche living, whatever. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like, you know what? The established market is probably just as bad, just as more expensive or whatever. And then, they end up converting over to the building side in a weird way.
I think a big thing's been the consultants though. If you get a good consultant and you can explain to people, look, this is what's in our book.
Yeah.
This is the time frame that these particular houses that you can go and physically see have been built in.
Yeah.
It's solidifying that it's not as scary as it was at that time.
Yes.
Like people do go online, obviously, and read all the bad negative comments. But when people do, have a good experience, they're less likely to put those comments on social media. So it does take someone who's got a good relationship with the client to show them proof.
Yes.
This is where we are now.
What we're seeing from our build partners as well is that confidence to offer a 12-month price hold, guaranteeing 12-month build times. That's pretty much across the board with all of them now. I think the maximum is a 9-month price hold we've got from one of our build partners. They're holding it for 9 months. So having a good consultant like a good broker, we can manage it going, if we sign now, we know the titles are due X, give ourselves a couple of months grace.
Yeah.
Because we're having to do pre-approvals as well now. We're not, LOEs aren't just cutting it anymore, it's pre-approvals and redoing that. We've got clients probably we're pre-approving essentially 3 or 4 times. Obviously we're not, but we're scary times to do it like that way. But that's just, it's actually making it better. It's actually making it more like structured. It's harder to be a cowboy about it all now. It's like you've got to be like, you have to have certain things in place to actually secure land, to secure it. And when you're securing it, I'm finding your clients are way more likely to stick with it and go through with it. You've seen back before the grants hit, you're just signing anyone and everyone. It was like you were just getting it was thrown at you. So, and how many fell over? Do you know what I mean? That you thought you were in the right place and they fall over. I think now these structures.
I think it's that cowboy mentality where people were, I guess, signing up clients that really weren't in a position to be signed, and that sort of tends to cross the board for everyone that's in the building industry, because that's the people that go on the media and say, oh, such and such builder took my deposit or whatever, when really they're in no position to be even looking at building at that point of time. You know what I mean?
I know me and you've done the same thing, and we might have lost a few clients because we took our time a little bit longer than some of the other guys out there, which is fine. But I'd rather make sure you're in a position to to jump out and go, like right now, there's a client, came back to me 18 months later and we're working together again because they said, we got to get this stuff in order.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do those slow burner with people. I'd just rather, some people, it's dropping $2,000 here and $3,500 there. It's a lot of money for some people, and then it's fell over and you lose that money. I'd just rather be a bit more due diligence with the clients. You just look at their bank accounts and then go, yeah, this is not going to fly. You're on sports bet every weekend, you know what I mean?
But I think a good, I suppose, relationship between a building broker and a broker is to get involved with the client early and educate them. So it doesn't mean that they have to purchase there and then.
Mm-hmm.
If they come in and they're not ready, you can still give them the education piece to get them ready, whether it be 3, 6, 9, 12 months. We've worked with people for a year and a half, 2 years sometimes. But they come through and they're the most appreciative people as well.
Yeah.
Because they've come in from, I suppose, renting or not having a lot of financial knowledge on how to purchase a property. Often these people will go to the established market. They have no idea what's going on. They don't know what to offer, how to start, where to look. They'll come and see a consultant. A consultant will give them the information required. But then the one thing real estate agents don't seem to do is introduce them to a broker early and then plan that, I suppose, expedition from, okay, you're renting now. This is what you need to save to get in order to get the property that you want for the price point that you want. This is how we're going to go about it. You've got to reduce your debts. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. And the journey sort of free-flowingly happens where it doesn't in the established market.
Do you think, now there's a huge trend of a lot more longer title delays, I guess from a finance point of view, that probably helps you in a lot of ways. Getting people's finances in order, having that extra time can obviously help them as well.
It does. It definitely does, unless the people want pre-approvals up front.
Okay, yes.
So some of the land agents are wanting pre-approvals up front.
Yeah.
We do. Obviously, our business seems to do a lot of the house and land packages around the place. So we do have a lot of relationships with the land agents. So when people come to us, we can obviously talk to the land agents, explain the position, give some clear guidelines on timeframes and things like that. And often that will be good enough with a proper, solid letter of eligibility that outlines the steps needed to take
clarity.
to get to the point where titles are out.
Yeah.
I feel like when clients are getting pre-approved too early, or they'll go to their bank, get a pre-approval, 3, 6, 9 months later when the titles are out, everything's changed. That pre-approval doesn't actually mean anything. So like having a broker look over everything properly and sit with the client and actually follow them up and guide them. That's where it works.
I think the thing with that as well is where clients are getting caught and we're getting got caught was they would go on a ballot for land, right? But then it would be like cash buyers get like priority, pre-approval, get B, LOE, and then you go, well, we need to be pre-approved, but we know they're not going to be till March. You're like, it's a catch-22, and we're just like to the brokers itself. We have to do it. There's no other. We have to protect ourselves.
It is
pre-approval.
As you know, working in the industry for so long, it's like this: who has the power, right?
Land agents have the power right now.
As of now, land agents do. Next year, who knows? But they're definitely milking it. Let's be honest, and it's infuriating. And we all have our stories, which we won't get into. But land developers, I should say, have the power. And I guess we just have to work with that because that's the cycle of our industry and the game that we play. I'm personally doing a lot more land only for finance, you know what I mean? And then separating the build finance later just to ensure that we're abiding by the O&A contract for land because, they are pulling them, they are putting them back on the market for 70 grand more. Yeah. It's been an insane year. I'm a little bit burnt out. I'll be honest with it. And we're a little bit over it. Let's get ready for Christmas. But it's that kind of thing where you just, I guess, have to play the finance game a little bit to appease by those sort of things. Are you doing a lot of that or?
We haven't needed to. Luckily, it seems the builders can sometimes get the contracts in the required time, but if they can't, we'll do land only first. And then do the remainder after. That's not a problem,
Yeah. It's more the major project builders that have that backlog of build contracts that it's a little bit more higher risk, I think, and obviously, abiding by the guidelines and timeframes around that.
It all depends. Like if they're getting a block off a real estate agent, then it's generally, you've got 30 days.
Yeah.
So you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
At that time, you have
get
to
going.
get it done.
Yeah.
If you've got, the longer titles blocks or you've got 90 days, which is generally what they'll give you, getting the contracts and everything together, if it all works out time frame wise, doing it together, I always think it's better for the client.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's a case by case
scenario
with each one. Yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? Like, some of the real estate agents that sell the land, you're not aware of how, and it's not on their fault, they just want to sell the land. They don't understand all the factors that we need to put together to do a house and land package. It's breaking your head against the wall, trying to get it right.
Yeah. All right, cool. Great topic. Thanks for coming on. And what are your, I guess to wrap up this podcast, I mean, really it's more about finance barriers entering into either established or building. In 2024, what have you found as sort of a market recap between the two?
I think it's mainly been purely not knowing the price for the established market and then the deposit requirements.
Yeah.
So those two together seems to have pushed a lot of people through to the build market. And it's almost been an easy transition for them, just knowing I've either got X amount of dollars, I need to double that to get into the established market. I don't have time to wait. I don't have time, the ability to get that. So let's just get the foot in the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I harp on it with this nearly every podcast. I do it as well. Don't sign anything until you've actually spoken to a broker or a bank and know where you can actually borrow. Some sales rep telling you can borrow $600K. Just don't. People are signing on what the sales rep telling them. They're not
qualified
to do it. You have to just walk in. And I'm literally going to say, I'll send them into the brokers and then we'll work together what you're at. Because it could be 12 months away before we're even near it. And that changes us to go, oh, well, what land have you got coming up in 12 months, guys? We'll grab one of those. Just makes things a little bit easier, right? So
yeah, fully agree with you. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming on. I'm sure you'll be on again.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, like, share, follow, comment, all that good stuff as well. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
This is the Build Out West podcast with your host Tony Hyde from Evolution House and Land Specialists and Catherine Smith from Build Bright Builder Brokers.
If you guys are looking to build in WA or simply curious to see what's going on in building, you guys are in the right place. We're here to give insight with professionals in the game, coming to give the inside scoop. Episodes are uploaded weekly, so don't worry, we don't skip a beat and you won't either. Like, share, subscribe, sit back, relax, and let's go.